Many thanks again for finding the time to join us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio this lovely Saturday morning. And for whatever you're watching across the world, welcome on board the program. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. In today's program, our focus is on the 2023 election, looking at the process as well as the outcomes, and then, of course, the reactions that have been trailing the exercise since it was concluded last Saturday. I'm joined now in the studio by Barrister Gentleman Amego. He's a politician and also a public affairs commentator. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
A member of the Edo State Civil Society movement. We also have Bishop Osadolo Oche. Bishop, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Former foreign correspondent of the Daily Times, legal practitioner, constitutional lawyer, notary public, Sir Adams Ali is with us in the studio. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll link up with our panelist from the UK, Dr. Tony Osakmawa Agbons. Dr. Tony, thank you for joining us on Politics Today.
Thank you, Sonny. Thanks for the good job you are doing. I greet everyone on set today.
Thank you very much. We also have from Abuja, Abdul Tijani from Transition Monitoring Group. Abdul, thank you for obliging us your time on the program.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you for having me. I'm so delighted to be part of this program today.
As is always the case, our studio lines will be open so you can call and be part of the discussion. We also will be taking your WhatsApp messages just to get you to be part of the conversation. But let me start up with our panelists here in the studio. Mr. Mego and the entire team here. The 2023 election, in a sense, is come and gone. The rest of it will be in the courts. But there have been some fundamental questions about the processes, about the conduct of different stakeholders, particularly Inec, the political parties, the candidates, and all of that. And it looks like, for me, these issues are going to rage on for a long, long time to come. What's your major takeout from this election, Mr. Mego?
Well, like you observed, the election has come and gone. First and foremost, I want to congratulate Nigerians because before the election, there was so much tension. There was so much hatred. There was so much suspicion all over this country. But some people were packing and going to stay in their villages. Some ran abroad that the problem that this election will be unbearable. Today, we thank God it has come and gone. Results have been declared. So we are waiting for inauguration. Well, like you observe, there are some processes taking long time. Well, the way you look at it, as a layman from outside, but as lawyers, we know that there are procedures. You don't just go to court and start the case tomorrow. Foundations must be laid, and all the necessary things must be put in place. And of course, if you don't go to court within a certain period, you'll be statute bound, you can no longer come to court. But an outsider will say, oh, the matter has been brought over, the judge has been brought over. It's not so. Those who are led must prove, and before you prove, there's a foundation you must lay. That's why you're having this delay. But we will get there we will get there, and people will get to know that the impression they have about judges, they are not correct at all.
Okay. Bishop Osadolo Oche, talk to us about the conduct and the reactions that have trailed the conduct of this election.
First and foremost, the election has come and gone. Winners have been declared, losers are also declared. But I want to look at the reactions of Nigerians because the electoral guideline only allowed us to go to one polling unit where we register to go and cast our vote. We have a right to remain there till the result is declared. We are not permitted to leave our polling unit and begin to insinuate in what happened in Sokoto, in Maiduguri, in Lagos, in Anambra, in Delta, in Yola, or any other place. These ones are the duty of the party agents who are to man their polling units. And the party agents are to collect the results given to them by the presiding officers of their polling unit. And it's expected that the parties should have a situation room wherein they can now put all these results emanating from polling unit together.
Okay.
To know whether they win or they lost.
Okay.
To know whether they inflated the result or they reduced their own result.
Okay.
So if this is the guideline, and somebody who is now at home is telling you that you know what happened in Maiduguri, where he did not visit, he's trying to incite the public against the public.
Okay.
He's trying to cause confusion. He's trying to bring us anarchy. And when anarchy starts, it's not going to affect the affluence. It's not going to affect the rich. It's not going to affect the president or the Aso Rock. It's not going to affect the government house or the governor. It is still the poor man or poor girl or poor lady like him or her that said pure water, biscuit. The small man that is struggling with cab, that they are going to destroy the windscreen, going to carry the water and cause a problem. So what we need to do is to be patient to follow the law.
All right, Pastor Adam Saliu. Yes.
Now, pursuant to what the bishop said, elections, like the Constitution, via Section 153, even Electoral Act 2022, Section 15, gives Inec the mandate to conduct, organize, and supervise elections. It has the power. Any other person assuming that position of dictating, assuming the powers of being an electoral officer is a meddlesome military. So INEC did its job, and as usual, there were winners and losers. Some people, or many of the candidates, are going to court. In presidential political history of this country, only President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan in 2015 did not go to court. Every other presidential election since 1979, Awolowo to Shagari to court must end up in court. So it's a convention. The court is there as the last hope of the common man. What is wrong with our voters is that I vote in Ward A of USB, and I automatically speculate and assume that whom I voted for is the winner of a national election. It cannot be. As penultimate speaker said, if you vote, you are voted in a place. You don't know what happened in Maiduguri, Sokoto, Enugu, or Yola.
Okay.
So it will be prejudicial to assume that the person you voted for must win. If he doesn't win, the election has been raised.
Okay. Let me quickly link up with you now, Dr. Tony Osakpawa Agbons, who is joining us from the UK. Dr. Tony, a major talking point in this election is that INEC went against its own guidelines for the election. Does that in any way resonate with you? And would you say this accounts for why there seems to be a dissatisfaction with the process?
Thank you very much, Sonny, for inviting me to the program. And I appreciate the statement of our elder statesmen there who have already laid the foundation for this discussion this morning. But the angle I want to look at this issue, yes, we've been doing elections in Nigeria.
A bit of a technical...
And then the child of us were aware of what happened in 1979 during the Shagari Awolowo election of 79 and 83. So all that has passed. And then we've been having elections since we came back to democracy in 1999. This is the 7th election we are having. So one would have expected that we'll be improving. You see, this 2023 election that just gone past, it is the damage of trust that has put us where we are now. If INEC, had, stayed on course, like they promised that is what happened on the voting day that is the election. No, it is what happened pre, during, and post-election that makes an election. So INEC, by its own guidelines, according to the Electoral Act 2022, have said that right from the polling units across all the polling units in Nigeria, that the election will be transmitted electronically. Let's not deceive ourselves. I'm joining this shoot now from far away. Before, in 1979, 1985, or 1990, this, what we are doing now, will not be possible. My brother is joining from Abuja now. He's also here. We are joining you guys in Benin City. So technology is the in thing. So how come for the presidential election, the election result transmitted from the polling unit for the House of Rep, it was transmitted for the Senate. So what happened to the presidential? So that is where Nigerians, even for those of us who are in the diaspora, we are with the credibility of INEC and the credibility of the rule of men, and there is foul play somewhere.
Okay.
So that is the angle many of us are looking at this election from.
All right, Dr. Tony, thank you very much for those points that you just established. Tijani, I'd like to get your perspectives. I mean, you guys were on the ground to monitor the election, as it were. What are your major misgivings about the exercise, interfacing it with all the reactions that have trailed the outcomes?
All right, thank you so much, Sonny. So the elections had come and gone. We deployed over 3,000 observers at the Transition Monitoring Group. We deployed over 3,000 observers across the 36 states and Abuja. And most of the results that we got from the field observers were also translate what we also see every day in the media around the level of transparency and credibility of the organization. However, we all understand that after every election, there is always the crisis around how credible is the elections and how efficient are the processes and all that. So what we expect that you should do, just like what other sincere administrations have done, if you can recall, during the time of Yaradua, he also came out very clearly to say that there are issues with the electoral process and there is a need for reforms. So what they did at that time was set up the Waste Commission, which also set out recommendations on how they can amend and reform the electoral process. And I think, whether we like it or not, there are going to be lamentations, there are going to be grief, there are going to be angers after the elections. We have also seen on instances where they have institutional attitude toward the electoral process that also undermine the credibility of the electoral process. We saw the issues around INEC not living up to its own guidelines, and also the roles some political parties or even the security agencies played. The actions and inactions that were taken that also undermine the credibility of the organization. In our report, which we released last week, the Transition Monitoring Group also outlined the issues around voter intimidation, vote buying, and also guideline issues where guidelines were not adhered to.
Okay.
But beyond the elections, we need to see how the next government, after the Buhari government, the next government that is coming in, need to see the possibility of identifying those areas where there are loopholes, where there are gaps, and sitting down with these institutions that are all working around the cycle of the election and see a way that they can identify those gaps before the next election. Our electoral process has always been undergoing this sojourn process, but I think the citizens have now shown very clearly this time around that we are all stakeholders in this process. We need to work together and also hold everybody accountable for whether the elections are done rightly or the elections are drawn.
All right, Tijani, let me pause you there. I'll come back to you in a moment. Brasta Mego, the conduct of INEC and then the political parties, particularly in engaging the electorate, has been a major talking point. We know the days of yore where we had incidents of ballot box snatching, voters suppression, and all of those ills. They were very, very prevalent in this election against what the INEC promised against what even the government, the federal government promised, as it were. Let me get your take on this.
Well, let me quickly reply to what Sakpawan and Aliu said. Aliu, my friend, said it is a convention, but it ought not to be a convention. That after each election we must go to court.
Yes.
No, the problem is with the people of Nigeria. What Sakpawan said, very heavy argument that it must be electronically transmitted. Yeah, that law says so, but go down, you will see that it's also stated that if it fails, they can announce just the way they used to do it. It's also there in the law. So BV has failed, and so they went the other way to announce what they announced. This is not to say that they have done well. I am saying that our own people are the problem of this country. Why you mention snatching our boxes and burning them? Is it Inec that comes to burn boxes? Is it the president that comes to burn boxes? They are our people. Either because they are winning or they are losing, they come. I had the experience in my units. They came after I shooting, and I ran away from my dear life. And they popped petrol and burnt everything. Ezekiel once said, "It's only a madman who can fight with a man holding a gun." So the problem basically and fundamentally, sir, is the problem of Nigerians in Nigeria. We are anxious for nothing. We want to do this, we want to do that. Must you win? If you contest and you don't win, for goodness sake, you go away from there, come back again. You could win or you may not also win. So this fighting, we are going to court, we are not going to court. Yes, if you are aggrieved and you think the property has not
it's your right to seek redress in the courts.
Yeah. But those who are vowed with saying law, those who are vowed must prove.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go to the court and prove what you have. But I have been waiting for another result myself. I want to see another result for which people are going to court. But I have not. Maybe they are hiding it until they go to court.
Okay.
So it is quite clear. If you are led, prove.
Okay.
And if you prove, court will be on your side.
All right.
But if you don't, stop noise making.
Bishop Osatolo Che.
You see, like my brother have deposited.
Yes.
Ye that are alleged must prove. You must come with equity. Like I said, it's not issue of mad talk. Inciting the public. One, I mentioned that you have an agent who represents you, become your eyes. The electoral law is very clear. People should go and buy it and read it.
But the agency that you talked about went against its own guidelines that he preached, confessed.
No, they never went against it. That's why I said they should go.
So all those interviews online, where the Inec chairman kept on saying that elections will be transmitted electronically. Yes. Were they concocted or
first and foremost? Statement is no law. Take that. Every statement you make here is no law. It's not binding.
So you are saying, in effect, just a moment, it means that you're saying that the Inec chairman deliberately deceived Nigerians.
I'm only
deceived Nigerians to believe what he was saying.
Wait, sir.
Yes.
Like he has said, that was where I was wanting to go before I stopped. When you read the electoral law, it provides for electronic transmission from the polling unit. I went further below to say it can be done manually. So whichever side the presiding officer decides to do, based on what is available to him, is covered by law.
Bishop Osatolo, just a moment. I'm really concerned about this line of thinking, because the man in question, you are saying that the electoral law provides for both electronic transmission and manual. So why was he not emphasizing that what we have is both electronic and manual? He kept on emphasizing electronic transmission of results, as if that was the only provision of the Electoral Act. That's the reason why there is so much tension in the land. That this was what you promised. This was what you said you were going to do. You went against your own guideline, because that was what you told us. You went to go, he went against his own word. So which means he deceived Nigeria. That's what you're saying.
What we are telling you is this. I was traveling for the election with my car. I have fuel, I have everything. I've done checking. On the way, the car break down. Now that the car break down, will I stay with the car or I need to look for alternative to get to my
How does that relate to this?
Exactly. It relates.
How does it relate?
Because that's why they put that clause in case he fail.
Okay.
What
all right, let me pause you there because
the next thing is that they will transmit manually.
Okay. All right. Let me pause you there. Yes, Tijani, you wanted to say something quickly.
Yes. While I want to slightly disagree with what my colleague has just said on this issue of transmission of results,
yes,
is that we all understand the process in this country. And if we are looking at a transparent electoral process, the right way to go is the electronic transmission of results from polling units.
Okay.
We all understand the mysteries and the dramas that happen between those polling units to local government coalition centers and even to state Inec offices. The only way you can say that the election result is credible is when election results are transmitted immediately after the results are counted at the polling unit. And that is why in our series of engagement with the Inec chairman, the man made it very clear, the chairman made it very clear that there were going to be transmission of election results directly from polling unit. Yes. Those were the promises he made to the civil society organization. Yes. Those were the promises he made to the Nigerian people, and those were the confidence he gave to political parties, reassuring them that with the electronic transmission of results, there is no way that the results were going to be waylaid on the road by political talks, and also other ways, other mysterious ways that results were changing before they got to the political center. And he's failing to do this. Failing to do this.
Yes.
To transmit that result, he has not only violated the constitution, that he has also created mistrust between the commission and the Nigerian people.
Okay, Tijani, thank you. Tijani, just a moment. Let me quickly link up with Dr. Tony Agbon.
Okay.
By Sadali, I'll come back to you in a moment. Dr. Tony, INEC's conduct in this election, because that seems to be the focus. I'm aware that over the years, like Tijani said, we've always had problems with how the election process ends, particularly with the results. What are your thoughts on this aspect? Because that seems to be a major talking point. Dr. Agmons, please.
Thank you, Sonny, for this very good question. And I want to hold the line of my brother Tijani. And you know, in my opening remark, I said that what happened in this election is the stabbing of the major artery of trust. Some time ago. In this election, INEC had followed its own guidelines, like they told us. Okay, I'm in the UK here. Professor Yakub Mahmoud, he came here to Chatham House and told the whole world that in real time, these results were going to be transmitted electronically. And if you read the Electoral Act, Section 60, subsection 1 down to subsection 6, everything is clearly stated there. So if INEC had stuck to its guns and actually transmitted this result, we won't be having this conversation now. Probably everybody will be congratulating the winners and the losers. And to be really very honest, it is the presidential election that the results were not transmitted on February the 25th. How come they were able to transmit that of House of Rep and the House of the Senate? So when you look at that, you will see that somebody who has an organization like INEC, an institution like INEC that have played their own rules, they flouted it. So for some of us, probably those of us in the diaspora, we believe that Nigeria right now is the laughing stock. People are laughing at us that we can never get anything right. All the sectors in Nigeria, they are going to be bastardized.
All right. Dr. Tony, what should we take more seriously? Dr. Tony, just a moment. Yes, I wanted to get to your response. Which should we take more seriously? Is it what the electoral law says, or what the INEC chairman says? Because another school of thought is that when you read the electoral guidelines, it also provides for manual transmission of results where the electronic transmission of a result fails. So which one should we take more seriously? What INEC chairman says or what the law says?
Good. You know, in law, you can't just So we better just move to Ocean A4 that we use for MK Abiola.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Agmos. I'll come back to you in a moment. Yes, Vice Adams Aliu.
Now, Inec, as I said earlier, is mandated to organize, supervise.
Then nobody is disputing that.
No.
But why did it go against its own guidelines?
Yes, people, if it is approved into its own guideline, it is a force majeure. If the electronic devices was working, it will transmit results fully electronically. But if it's getting disappointing, it will result again to manual. And that is a force majeure and a respect of an anomalous condition. So to learn to allow the moderator of election to do his job.
And even if it's standing on the head of the law, we should just fold our arms and then watch them do whatever they like.
The Inec officials read the law and they are executing it. Okay. You know, in a football match, it is the spectator that plays better than the player.
All right.
No, let me quickly say this. I'm sorry.
All right. Yes.
You see, when you talk of documentary...
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Documentary evidence and oral evidence. Documentary evidence is stronger than oral evidence. But we should hold Mahmoud responsible for the problem of this election. Because at your age, by your standard or your standing in the society, you cannot come and tell us one thing and do another. Electoral law, as far as I'm concerned, is not to carry the blame, but Mahmoud to carry the blame. Let Mahmoud tell the world why he said this and then did a different thing. The case is against Mahmoud, not the electoral law. Electoral law allow what happened. So that's what I'm saying. If we argue to Inec, Mahmoud should answer us why you said this and you did a different thing. That alone is sufficient for Mahmoud to say, okay, I thought we were going to be able to do it. Now that we are not able to do it, election is cancelled. Let's go back to the election, to the people. Because what he promised, he did not do it. But if we follow electoral law, he is covered.
Okay. Bishop Musa Doloche, let's talk about some other major fallouts, perhaps on the positive side, as far as this election is concerned. We have seen new members in the National Assembly, in the House of Representatives, on account of this seeming new movement, the third force, as some people said, in this election. I'd like to get your take along those lines. What is the implication of that going forward?
It's a sign that Nigerians are fed up with the old order. Because particularly the youth felt cheated, suppressed, oppressed, intimidated. They don't see tomorrow. So now they decided to take the destiny in their hand by aligning with the obedient movement. It is not because Obi is contesting election. It is because they find somebody they can align with and give it a name, obedient movement. So for those persons like a motorcycle rider won House of Rep somewhere, ordinarily, he couldn't have been able to win a councillor if it was under normal circumstances. But because he was the one nominated by that party, and people say we must, whether it's a goat or fowl, or human or non-human, we want a change. He got a vote. Like someone's senatorial seat, the people he's going to represent don't even know the person. Because he never approached them to say, vote for me or don't vote for me.
But anyhow, he won.
Anyhow, he won. Because the people say, since he's a member of Obedient, we must support the person,
okay,
and they won. So
but
that is it. It's a sign.
Yes, by Saddam Salih.
Very well. Politics is dynamic. In 2015, the world changed because people were fed up. They voted for Buhari. So was the circumstance this time around. No money, no fuel, nothing whatsoever. Things were so bad. So people felt that we should change and let it be for the better. You observe some candidates who are not known. We don't hear of them campaigning via their manifesto. They won. But because of the dynamism of policies, the result of March 11 was quite different from the result of March 18. Imagine now, the thing changed. Many people, the party that was being branded, movement here and there, that did well, March 11. 2 weeks later, during the next election, they did not win anything. So the world dynamic. People have on sport.
2 weeks later, they won. They won a state, a full state.
But
Yes.
not as much
Yes,
as
a full state.
the presidential election.
Yes. Okay.
One would have thought that as they did well presidential election, they would have swept governorship election as well as.
Okay, let me link up with a panelist who are joining us via Zoom. Tijani, we're talking about the outcomes now of the election, the presidential and national assembly, and then the governorship and state houses of assembly election. How come there's so much of disparity in terms of participation and then the outcomes in these two elections? In the presidential election, Labour Party, for example, the Labour movement, the Obedient movement did so well. But in the governorship and House of Assembly election, the same cannot be said. I want to get a take on this.
They are disappointed.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said earlier, our grievances and disappointments are not actually on most of the results that we see out there, because they also represent the views and the aspirations of the people. But most of the issues is that in conducting an election, there are guidelines, there are processes that should be followed. If these processes are not followed, it opens doors to question the credibility of those results. We have seen.
A bit of a technical glitch there. I hope we'll be able to establish connection with Abdul Tijani. Okay, it's back now.
Process, so that the issues around vote buying reduced at a point. Then we also saw that because of the reforms that had come into the electoral process, we can people say most of the issues around the cashless policy also played a role in reducing the way money was actually being involved in our electoral process. We see a lot of things play out that actually we can say that this were an improvement in the electoral process. But however, when guidelines are set, when procedures are outlined that this is what should be done, we expect that these things should be followed. And if we are not running a country that anything goes, and those things should stop. And that's why we are saying that most of the places where you see people protect their votes, they did not wait for results to be transmitted. They had their votes, and it was very difficult for most of those results to change. Okay. That's why you see where there are changes of those results, people will still go to court and reclaim their mandates. Okay. But at least let there be a process, a procedure that is credible, that is built around the confidence of the people. That is what we are saying. That
all right. Thank you, Tijani. Dr. Agbons, yes. Quickly, give us your take on the seeming disparity between the participation and the outcomes in both the presidential and national assembly election, the state governorship and House of Assembly election. Because I've heard people say when the state's executives saw the outcome of the presidential election, they felt it was time for them to guarantee their own survival. So they went all out to do whatever they can to, secure that state. Would you subscribe to this as well?
Yeah, I agree with you, my brother. Sonny. You are very correct. After the shock of February 25, you could see all the state governors. They came all out and they did all they could do by hook and crook to make sure that they win. In the March 18th election. And when you talk about the Labour Party getting 1 governor, 8 senators, 34 House of Rep, and 68 members of the House of Assembly across the country, it's a very good start. It's a very good start. And like my brother Tijani Jones said again, going forward, if we can, follow the rule of law in Nigeria, because hiding under the law would do our shenanigans has been the bane of development of our country in every sector. So people, they will quote the law, quote it from behind. So if we can follow are seeing there has been tipped, have been cancelled, have been mutilated. Excuse me, this is not done in any other place. You don't see it happen. And when you look at our election, my brother, look, I'm in the UK here. We vote when we are doing election, whether council or election here. Okay, we do it on Thursday. There is no public holiday. In fact, most times after I close from work, I come to vote. You don't see police, you don't see army. So I know our democracy is evolving, but we should evolve in the right way. Let's follow the rules. If we don't follow the rules, I'm afraid our country will come to a jungle.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll be opening our studio line shortly, so you can also call and be part of the discussion. Remember, we promised to also give you access to our WhatsApp platform so you can contribute to the discussion. Remember as well, you can follow us on all our social media platforms at ITV Radio NG on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, and of course on Facebook. Follow me on my personal Twitter handle at Duke Okosun. I'll follow you back. Now, Pastor Amego, one thing that came out clearly in this election is the role of the youths, the impact of the youths has defined a lot of things. I mean, some of the things that we've talked about, like Bishop Osadoloche mentioned, a bicycle rider who won membership of the House of Representatives and all of that. And Pastor Adam Salu talked about instances where those who even won didn't have the opportunity to campaign to the electorate, but they still won because the youths have resolved to take their destiny in their hands. They want to have a clear-cut departure from the past, whether it's the old order of political, movement. How do we harness this going forward, in your opinion?
Well, that's the problem we have with our youths. They are not consistently consistent. If they came out the way they came on the presidential election, could have been a different ball game. You just said, you mentioned one state, that people in National Assembly. Because it makes you feel now that obedience is a fluke or a wind that comes in and goes away. Because I wanted to see the youth take over the country. You could do it, and so what are you going to do? Just 2 weeks after the first election, they all relaxed. They didn't come out. In my own local government, they did not come out. Will I be going from house to house to bring them out? So,
if you say they didn't come out, but a youth won your constituency.
Yes.
Yes. Isn't that a plus?
It's inconclusive.
Okay, it's inconclusive. Yes. It's inconclusive.
Yes. See, if they really want to take over, well, they have my sympathy. But let them go all out to take over. It's not by taking over. Will Obi alone solve the whole problem in the country? Obi needs to also have governors, members of the House Assembly. In fact, to also change the National Assembly. Yes. In fact, to remove Mahmoud. He needs all that. It's not just presidential. Only as a president, what can he do? Okay. The problem that everybody has today is Buhari, my own party. Buhari is a complete failure. He has accepted that himself. So,
this is your personal opinion.
Of course,
yes. That Buhari is
I'm not saying it on behalf of my party.
Yes.
He has said he has failed.
But there are those who say,
he said we are
there are those who will tell you that he's done well. When you say he's a complete failure, that's a comprehensive statement.
I don't insult, but yes. He personally said we have failed. So he said it himself.
That's his party, which is leading, which is the leader.
And what they call him, the communication minister at the Lai Mohammed said we have failed the nation. I didn't hear it from a third person. I heard him saying it directly. Okay. So that's what I'm only repeating. Okay. Right. So if they use our just to take over, because the country is not governed properly, let them come together and actually take over. It's not by going to destroy government properties or fighting with individuals. Let them have a head and say, this is the next thing we shall do, that is the next thing we shall do to take over in 4 years. If today they see fit that they won, let's go to court. Okay. They will prove it in court. And if they prove it, yes, my party will congratulate them.
Bishop Osadoloche, how do we harness these potentials of what we saw with the obedient movement and the youth's participation in this election?
You see, they say winners don't quit and quitters don't win. And like I told some persons, if you must remain relevant in politics, you must continue to service it, whether you lose or you win. Because if you lose you shut your door against your supporters. When you come back again, to gather them again will be too difficult.
Yes.
So you must be ready as a politician to service them. That's why you go to a politician's house, you see kind, you see palm wine, you see mineral, you see beer. Not because the man is foolish, not because the man have so much, but that is the only way people can come to his house. Let's go to leader's house, let's go to leader's house. So by that you are communicating, you are building hope. So that when time come again, you now know who and who to reach to help you galvanize people to join. Okay. So if Obi movement now decide to run away because they lost presidential election per se, it is not going to favor them in the next election.
All right, so Adam Salim.
Yes. A tree does not make a forest. The very Peter Obi in question was a governor in Anambra, was vice presidential candidate to Atiku. He had been on, and he may not have got the presidential tickets in his party, PDP. That's why he kept him. And all of a sudden, the youth had confidence in him. If the youth is consistent, they should vote in all elections, not one. A president in Abuja cannot be local government chairman or House of Rep representing his federal constituency or state House of Assembly. So youth participation should be total. It should not be temporary. Okay. And politics is a long distance game. It's not 100-yard dash. It is long. So even most of the candidates that contested have been on. Atiku was contested 6 times. Tinubu has been senator, governor, all over. Even with Obi had been vice presidential candidate. So the youth too should be consistent. They could bring out one of their persons, buy ticket for him, campaign for him, and stand by him thick or thin. So that, but now...
All right, as we begin to get set to call it a wrap, okay. Dr. Agbons, quickly, we want to look at the gains of this election. You mentioned some of the numbers as it relates to the impact the Labour Party made. I'm sure those who said the Labour Party didn't have structures, they were confounded and overwhelmed by how the election went, particularly with the presidential election. And that led to them coming out strong in the governorship and state houses of assembly election. Is this sustainable, this movement, this third force, this impact that was made in this election, irrespective of how it comes out with the courts, is this sustainable?
It's very, very sustainable. And I believe that the momentum is not going to stop. And like what the panelists have said, the journey of democracy is not a sprint, not a 100-meter marathon. I believe, the obedient movement has come to stay in Nigeria, and they will keep pushing Nigeria and attack hegemony that I've heard found 1999. So Nigerians Kano, the MPP, actually they won the governorship election. But for an overview, what most of us don't believe is that we need to do in Nigeria is to make our electoral system very free. And once we have the electoral integrity, we believe even more people who come to take part in the electoral, ward, local government level. Once people know that if they spend their time and their resources, not the idea, but that is what we are all saying now. Yes, more healing, but people should not get that. We need to admit, that this process, there's a lot of flaws. The process is perfect, but in our electoral process, and be honest. That way, we'll be building a foundation for a just and a
All right, Dr. Tony Agbons joining us from the UK. Thank you so much, Dr. Agbons, for your time. We truly appreciate you. Okay, let's quickly take our calls now. We have our first caller on the program. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning. You're live on Politics Today. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Sonny Yadosa from Airport Road.
All right, Sonny Yadosa, thank you for joining us. Please go ahead.
Okay, first question I would love to ask those who are learned senior in your studio. Is it true that the electoral law allow whether transmission is done by electronic media or you can do manually when electronic fail? If that is the case, why are everybody talking about Mahmoud said this, Mahmoud said that, and it's as though the man have done something wrong, and nobody is talking in that regard? So that shows that we are being emotional instead of being realistic. That's one point. The second one I would like to look at very critically is the fact that it pains my heart. Some people are saying that the election has come and gone. The election has come, but it is not gone. Because what Nigeria is doing right now, it seems that we need to, instead of going to do a general election, going to the poll, we will just go to appeal court of tribunal. And please, we want to do election. Decide for us who become the next governor or president.
Okay.
Because not until they go through this process of tribunal appeal, they are to the Supreme Court, you cannot say the election has gone.
Okay.
Until then, a man who won may be declared not didn't win, and there are a whole lot we need to look at. Lastly, sir, I have seen some governors who will go to church. They are attacking everybody, and they also instigated violence in the area where they voted, and they are going to thank the people. They are going to church to give offering. They should remember that pastor may collect your offering, the priest may collect your offering. That God sees your heart, and like Jesus says, He said, "God is not mocked. Do not be deceived. Whatsoever man sow, that's what we reap."
Absolutely.
Nigeria is too precious for us to take for granted because we are crawling. What you are doing right now is actually a disservice to our fatherland. We need Nigeria to be able to talk about becoming any position we want to hold in Nigeria. So we must hold Nigeria dearly so that at the end of the day, Nigeria will be delivered to us what we want Nigeria to do for the country. Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Sonny Yadosa. Apparently taking so long time, making your views there. But let's see how much time we can give to another caller. Please be brief. Others are on the line. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Well, we lost that call. Let's see a bit of the messages that we have on our WhatsApp. We did promise to take some messages. Good morning, Pastor. My name is Brother Mike. If the presidential election was free and fair, there is no way the remaining two contestants will win Peter Obi. For me, personally, I don't have any hope for the judiciary for the case, okay? And that's your opinion. Thank you. Let's see what more messages we can take. The truth is that the reason why the youth did not come out for the governorship and House of Assembly election, it was how the presidential election was rigged. They believe that that vote did not count. That's your statement there. What results were announced? Okay. Good morning, Sonny, and your panel of analysts. We the youths are reorganizing and we'll be back again. I like that. I like that. The election, the general election that has just been concluded has taught us the obedience how to go about in 2027. Though we are in court to challenge the process and declaration of a president-elect, obedience will retire the APC and PDP. It's a matter of when and not if. God bless you. Thank you. Good morning to you, presenter. Inec chairman went to Chatham House and he told the world that the presidential election will be transmitted electronically, through the use of beavers. I think I agree with one of your guests in the studio there that the Inec chairman deceived Nigerians. The question that I want to ask, what happened to the electoral law reforms of 2023? Michael from Agbo. Thank you, Michael. Sonny, my name is Austin from Igo. Well, my contribution to this is that everybody supporting wrong things should go and read Proverbs 24, verse 24. Thanks. And then what more can we bring you? Good morning, presenter. For Inec chairman to refuse Mr. Peter Obi access to beavers is that some manipulation was done, and a lot of people who they voted for Ighodalo from Sabo. Thank you. Okay, what more can we bring you now? That seems to be it. But let's quickly see if we can take an additional call. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning.
Good morning, my good brother. This is USA speaking from St. Xavier.
Okay, USA, just try and be brief because we're out of time. Go ahead, please.
Right. Now, what I want people to know, this political mess in which we find ourselves today was created by Inec officials. If Inec has done what was right at that defining moment today, Nigerians would have been celebrating the victory of democracy in our country. There is no way Nigeria can ever move forward until we, the educated ones, are ready to use our education and do what is necessary for the good of our country. Those developed countries, what are they using? Simply proper utilization of the human brain. When you love your country, you will never do anything to break down your country. This is the origin.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Quickly, final words as we call it to wrap. Going forward, because we know that the election has come, but like Sonny Gados has said, it's not gone yet. All right, quickly, final word.
Well, we want to tell our youths, based on what you have analyzed yourself, let us be consistent. Let us not go out destroying properties, pursuing people to be them. You are obedient people. Everybody is now talking of obedient people. If you are an obedient person, you should follow the rule of law.
Okay. Bishop Sadolochi.
I want to appeal to the general public that we should be patient and wait for the outcome of the
Supreme Court. All right.
For me,
yes.
youth empowered this election. They brought life into it, so they should not lose out. Other local government, council, whatever election that is subsequently coming up, the youth should come out with vigor to tell them. After all, they are the leaders of tomorrow.
Okay, as another listener or viewer of this program, you did recommend for us to go to Proverbs 24, verse 24. And it says, whoever says to the guilty, you are innocent, will be cursed by peoples and denounced by nations. It's just a point of reflection, and that's why we draw the curtains on the show today on Politics Today on independent television and radio. I want to say big thanks to everyone that made the show a huge success. But remember, it's not over until it's over. Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we must continue to work to make the country better. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun, wishing you a great weekend. Bye for now.